crystallized.
It's not every day that a Hollywood director tells an entire cast of actors to grab at their co-stars' breasts. But that's exactly what happened on the set of Fantastic Voyage. And the reason behind it? Well, let's just say it wasn't exactly what you'd expect. Released in 1966, Fantastic Voyage was a groundbreaking sci-fi adventure directed by Richard Fleischer. It took audiences on a mind-bending journey inside the human body, with a submarine crew miniaturized to microscopic size and injected into a scientist's bloodstream to save his life. With an all-star cast featuring Stephen Boyd, Edmund O'Brien, Donald Pleasence, Arthur Kennedy, and of course the stunning Raquel Welch, the film became an instant classic. But behind the scenes, there were as many surprises as there were inside the human body. From life-threatening filming conditions to a crow literally stealing part of the set, this movie had it all. And one of the most infamous moments, the scene where every actor on set found themselves, whether they liked it or not, grabbing at Raquel Welch in the name of cinematic perfection. Now, if you've seen the film, you might remember that scene where antibodies attack Raquel Welch's character, Cora Peterson, and the crew has to pluck them off her body. Simple enough, right? Well, not quite. On the first take, the actors, being true gentlemen, very carefully avoided touching Welch's breasts. But the end result? Director Richard Fleischer said it looked like something straight out of a Las Vegas show, more dazzling showgirl than scientific rescue mission. So what did he do? For the second take, he told the actors to go ahead and grab her breasts. And guess what? That take didn't work either, because now everybody was grabbing at the same place. The result was a chaotic, unintentional comedic mess, as if someone had turned a prestigious sci-fi film into a slapstick routine. Realizing that a more coordinated effort was needed, Fleischer finally had to choreograph the scene, instructing each actor on exactly where to place their hands. And that, folks, is how one of the most awkward yet oddly humorous moments in sci-fi history came to be. It was one of those bizarre filming moments where reality intruded in the most unexpected way, and even Welch herself reportedly found the whole situation completely absurd. But Fantastic Voyage wasn't just a film about a microscopic journey. It was a technological marvel of its time. In an era before CGI, the special effects in this film were considered cutting edge. The sets alone took up nearly half the film's budget, with giant replicas of blood vessels, the heart, and even the brain being constructed to create a believable microscopic world. The visuals were so striking that Life magazine even ran a photo spread showcasing the groundbreaking effects. The Proteus, the submarine that carried the miniaturized crew, was a technical achievement in itself. A full-scale version was built, complete with an intricate interior, allowing the actors to move around and interact with their surroundings as if they were inside a real vessel. But, in addition to that, multiple miniatures of the Proteus were created for various shots, including a 5-foot version for use in large set pieces, and a tiny model just inches long for the dramatic miniaturization sequence. These effects may seem old school today, but back then, they were nothing short of revolutionary. And here's where things got even more dangerous. Those wires holding the actors. They were treated with acid to prevent light reflections, which also made them more prone to snapping. So, while the audience marveled at the visuals, the actors were risking their necks, literally. In fact, there were several instances where the wires weakened and actors nearly fell, leading to tense moments on set. It was a high-stakes gamble, but it paid off, as the illusion of floating inside the human body was completely convincing. Now, you might be wondering, Why was the science in Fantastic Voyage taken so seriously? Well, that's because the director himself, Richard Fleischer, originally studied medicine before switching to filmmaking. His attention to anatomical detail was so impressive that, believe it or not, medical schools in the 80s actually used clips from Fantastic Voyage to teach anatomy and immunology. The film meticulously recreated the inner workings of the human body, from the rushing bloodstream to the intricate structures of the brain. The production team worked with medical advisors to ensure that the visuals were as accurate as possible given the technology of the time. Sure, some liberties were taken. The antibodies attacking Welch were more dramatic than realistic, and the idea of miniaturization itself remains firmly in the realm of science fiction, but the film's depiction of human biology was surprisingly advanced for its era. Of course, not everyone was thrilled with the film's scientific accuracy, or lack thereof. Isaac Asimov, the legendary science fiction writer, was approached to write the novelization of the film, but when he read the script, he found so many plot holes that he insisted on fixing them in his book. One of the biggest? The fact that the submarine, Proteus, was left inside the scientist's body, along with the remains of the saboteur, Dr. Michaels. According to Asimov, that should have killed the patient when everything suddenly expanded back to normal size. In his version, he rewrote the ending so the submarine was expelled naturally, making for a much more logical conclusion. But logical or not, audiences loved Fantastic Voyage. It won 2 Academy Awards for Best Special Effects and Best Art Direction, and to this day, it remains one of the most visually striking sci-fi films ever made. It even inspired an animated series and a now-defunct ride at Disney's Epcot Center called Body Wars. And of course, it gave Raquel Welch her first major Hollywood role, though she would go on to become a global sex symbol thanks to 1 Million Years BC that same year. Interestingly, Welch later admitted that she was infatuated with her co-star Stephen Boyd during filming, but he reportedly turned down her advances. Talk about missed opportunities. Now the big question, will we ever see a Fantastic Voyage remake? Over the years, some of Hollywood's biggest directors, including James Cameron, Roland Emmerich, and Guillermo del Toro, have toyed with the idea, but the project has remained stuck in development limbo. Cameron was especially keen on remaking it, but he ultimately chose to focus on Avatar instead. That said, he recently hinted that the project might finally move forward, so who knows, we might be getting a 21st century Fantastic Voyage sooner rather than later. So, what do you think? Should Fantastic Voyage get a modern-day remake with today's CGI, or does the classic still hold up on its own? And what's your favorite scene from the original? Let us know in the comments below.